guys, so in this video I'm going to show you what I do with my horses after I have ridden them. So I had just finished riding Gabbana. I had cooled her off for about 15 minutes in walk as we did quite an intense flat work session. As you can see, I've just taken her bridle off and I'm just going to rub her face anywhere that the bridle has touched. You can see we have a little audience. He's quite intrigued as to what we're doing. So like I said, I'm rubbing her face, just a gentle massage anywhere that the bridle has touched. This just increases the circulation. The best way I can think to describe it is if you went for a run and you worked quite hard and you took your shoes off, it would feel good to give your feet a little rub. So that's what I'm doing here with her. She's actually quite enjoying this. Now, she wasn't really a fan of having her face touched when I bought her, but she's very good at it now. She looks forward to her face rubs. So I'm just going to pop the head collar on. I'm going to finish untacking, and I'm going to do pretty much the same as I did with the head, with the back. So I'm just going to rub or pat. You can see I'm patting her back here. This just again increases the circulation. This is a key area because this is obviously where the rider sits, and also I'm tapping the girth area. You can do this for up to a minute or two each side. You can also do this with a rubbing motion, but because she's sweaty, the rubbing motion would be a little bit sticky. And again, I'm going to take her boots off and do the same with the legs. Again, I haven't done everything for the full amount of time just because it would make the video quite long and boring. And also when you rub the legs, you just want to check for any abnormalities, especially after work. So now we're going to move on to my leg stretching sequence. These leg stretches, you don't do them every day, you can do them every other day, and you must build up gradually. So I'm kind of at a further along stage with Gabbana now where she's stretching each limb for kind of between 30 seconds to 1 minute. When you guys start stretching with your horses, each stretch you would only hold for maybe 5 to 10 seconds and gradually increase them. I actually just tied her up here because she's looking around. There was lots going on in the yard. So here we're moving on to a 4-limb stretch. You can see I've picked the leg up behind the knee and I'm just gently circling it left and right, doing small slow circles. You would start with only doing 5 to 10 seconds to introduce your horse, and gradually over time build this up to anything from 30 seconds to a maximum of a minute. You can see I'm actually moving my body quite a lot. If you try to do this with just your arms, you'll get very tired. Your body posture is vital when you're doing this, especially because horses are very strong and very heavy and you do not want to injure your back trying to make your horse feel better. You might make yourself feel worse. So I've just picked the leg up behind the knee and I'm just doing circles left and right for up to a minute. What I usually do is 10 circles left, 10 circles right, 10 circles left, 10 circles right, and that targets the triceps, shoulder. And now I'm going to do the front limb stretch, the second part. Everything I'm going to try and show you in segments. So the first part you just saw was the first part of the leg stretch. Now you can do it with the leg straight. So again, notice how I've got my elbows on my knees. So if she was to try and push down or to pull back, my lower back is protected because my arms are resting on my leg. And the same thing again, I'm just keeping the leg in line with the shoulder. So if you look down their shoulder blade, you don't want the leg to be out or in. You want to keep that line, it's very important. And this stretch is targeting the triceps, the flexor muscles down the back of the limb, the pectorals, the abdominals, just to name a few. I'm going to show you from the other side. On this side, I'm going to actually do part 1 and part 2 as a whole. So you can do it in 2 separate parts like I did in the first part, or you can break it up. Again, note my body mechanics. I'm not using my arms. I'm doing a little dance. If anyone sees you, you might look a little bit strange, but everyone in my stables is used to seeing me do this now. So I hope you can really see the stretch that we're achieving through the triceps here. Again, I don't do these stretches every day. I do them every other day as a maximum because the body needs time to adjust and recover. When you're stretching, you create little micro tears in the muscle, which is important. That's how you improve the muscle quality and flexibility, but the body needs time to recover. So like I said, don't do these every day. And I'm actually at quite a far along stage with Gabbana because she's been stretching for a few months now, so I'm holding the stretches for 30 seconds to 1 minute. Again, you would start with each stretch I'm showing you, maybe only do 5 to 10 seconds and gradually build up with your horse. Horses are very savvy. They won't let you hurt them, so listen to what your horse is saying. Sometimes if they're trying to take the leg back, perhaps they're not balanced. You can notice Gabbana standing square behind, so it's quite easy for her to give me the front leg. So if your horse is really resisting you, make sure that you listen to them and maybe let them rebalance, or maybe they're telling you that actually that stretch is painful, so maybe then you could consult your local therapist or your local vet. Now we're going to move to the hind limb sequence. This is a stretch for the hamstrings, the biceps femoris, the gluteals, So what I've done is I've picked up the hoof, again keeping it in line with the front limb, so not abducting it or adducting it. And I'm actually holding under the hoof, guys. Please don't do it like I do. You should hold behind the fetlock. Gabbana doesn't like it when I hold behind her fetlock. So what I'm doing here is I'm doing little circles, left and right. What I usually do is in the lowest position, what you saw, I did 10 circles left, 10 circles right. Then I lift up a little bit higher and I do 10 circles left, 10 circles right. Noting that in each position I have my elbow on my knee to protect my back. Gabbana's almost 18 hands, so I have to stand on my tiptoe. So now I'm stretching the other hamstring. Again, note my body position, my elbows are on my knees to protect my back. Most important thing, when you're starting the stretch with your horse, only try and do the low position. So you can see I have her foot about 30 centimeters off the floor for the beginning. Definitely only start with that for your horse. Doing the second and third positions with the limb higher and closer towards the belly is much more advanced. And if you perhaps tried to do the higher position and your horse resisted, just listen to them, because it's perhaps too much. It can take several months to improve a horse's flexibility. Obviously this depends on their genetics, their job, their age, their breeding, their lameness history. So always, everything I show you in this video, please do it with thought. Consult your local therapist or vet if you have any queries if this is suitable for your horse or not. Now we're going to move to a stretch for the superficial gluteals, tensor fasciae latae, the extensor muscles on the front of the leg, the quadriceps, etc., etc. This is basically a hip and stifle and hock stretch. I'm going to show you two ways to do this. I prefer the first way that I'm doing now because I can actually see what the horse is doing. You can see this one Gabbana finds a little bit difficult. She's not fighting me too much, so I just gently hold on to the leg. Again, I'm just circling the leg left and right. Again, you'd start with 5 to 10 seconds and then over time gradually build up to 30 seconds and a minute and so on. You can see she's starting to relax into it, and you can see the stretch, and I'm getting through the hock, stifle, quads and through the hip joint. Again, I'm just circling. All these stretches are done with circling because I like to add a little bit of mobilization in as well as stretching. Some horses prefer if you just hold the limb still for them, so you can practice with your horse. And if you do have any questions, just ask a local therapist. Now this is the other way. You can do exactly the same stretch, but I actually don't like this way. I feel much less safe because I can't actually see the horse's reaction. So you gently put your leg in front of their cannon pone, and I have my hand just resting on her hock. I'm not actually pushing the hand, my hand is just there as a guide. And the same thing again, I'm just doing the circles left and right. Same thing, gradually starting with 5 to 10 seconds, building up to 30 seconds and a maximum of a minute. Like I said, this stretch, be careful with. Don't do anything that you think you might get injured doing. Gabbana's very quiet and she's very experienced with all of this, and I'm a professional. I work as an animal chiropractor, so this is something I do every single day. This final leg stretch I'm going to show you is to target the medial and deep gluteal muscles, to name a few. These stretches target a lot of other muscles. I've just given you a little overview of the main muscle groups you're going to be targeting. So you basically just take the horse's limb and gently try to encourage them just to bring it across. Now this is quite an advanced stretch, but this is a very, very, very beneficial stretch if you have a horse with tight gluteal muscles. This one takes quite a bit of training because the horse has to balance on 3 legs. You're on the opposite side taking the opposite leg. So do take your time with this one. I'm not up to doing 1 minute with Gabbana with this yet. Usually do about 30 seconds. If your horse really wants to take their leg back, do not resist them, do not fight them. Maybe they don't feel balanced, maybe the stretch is uncomfortable because they have restriction or pain in the soft tissues. So always listen to what your horse says. As you can see in this position, I still have my elbows on my knee. My body posture is vital. You can see she finds this leg a little bit more difficult. But again, she doesn't fight me too much, so I just hold on to the leg and just encourage her to continue stretching. And perhaps you can always ask your local professional to show you these stretches in person, because it's very difficult to always replicate it exactly as you see it on a video. The final stretch I'm going to show you in this sequence is a hind end tuck. I was just showing you that I actually don't have any nails. So I'm actually going to use just the soft side, not the pointy side of the hoof pick, to do a hind end tuck. The hind end tuck is basically a horse sit-up. So the horse must contract the abdominals, flex the spine and flex the pelvis. If they don't react, you might need to press a little bit harder. If you're using your fingers, you'll have to press a little bit more firm, but I'm using metal tools, so I just do very, very light scratches just above her tail either side. and you just hold it for 3 to 5 seconds till they flex the spine. And between each repetition, I just rub my hand down the spine so they lower the back again. It's normal if the horse tries to move forward. Gabbana's a little bit tight in her back, so if your horse does move forward when you do this, you can ask someone to hold them. And be careful you don't get kicked. If your horse is very uncomfortable with this, don't do it. There are other ways to stretch the back. I'm just going to show you the stretch from the other angle so you can really see the flexion through the spine. This is the only stretch that I would actually perform before exercise. It's a good warm-up for the spine. The limb stretches must always be done after exercise. Very, very important. And you can see there, she's flexed through the spine nicely. I'm holding it for only a few seconds. For example, if I was to do this stretch with my horse Urano, he is easily able to hold the stretch without moving. No one needs to hold him, but this takes time. Stretching is a very gradual process, and some days the horse might find it easy, some days they might find it hard. So always just listen to what your horse is saying, because like us, they don't feel the same every day, and it's okay if they have a bad day. But just always try to think about what your horse is showing you or telling you, or what you're feeling as you're trying to do these stretches. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. There are many, many other kinds of stretches you can do. These are just some of them. I didn't want to overload everyone in one video. If this video is proving popular, then I can also make another stretching video with different kinds of stretches for the legs and for the body. And if you follow the link in the description, there's a video on how to do carrot stretches with your horse. I do those also every day.